Good evening, and welcome to Direct Impact Broadcasting, the station of growth and transformation. Affiliate of Creative Broadcasting presents Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson, with your host, Tywauna Wilson, as she welcomes her guest to the studio.
Welcome to Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson. I am your host, Tywauna Wilson. A little bit about myself. I am your award-winning leadership maven, medical laboratory scientist by background, best-selling author, owner-in-chief leadership coach at Trendy Elite Coaching and Consulting Services, executive director with the John Maxwell team, Maxwell certified consultant, Sendal Cards referral partner, and co-owner of Direct Impact Broadcasting Radio Network. Before we bring on my special guest, I want to share a few announcements. I am booking guests for this podcast throughout the remainder of 2019. You can go to www.podcast.coachtwilson.com to submit your interest. All of my leadership and strength assessments are now on sale at www.trendyelitellc.com. And to get ongoing leadership tips and personal development support, I encourage you to join my leadership tribe at bit.ly/TE Leadership Tribe, or find us on Facebook under Trendy Elite Leadership Tribe. Special thanks to my media mentors, Miss Ashley Little and Miss Kimberly McLemore of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLP. Today's special guest, Tijuana Everhart. Tijuana T.J. Everhart is the owner and CEO of Everhart & Associates, LLC consulting firm. They offer a focus on identifying and facilitating the change needed to move a business forward to meet its operational goals. As a certified business consultant, she has over 20 years of operations management along with education to help businesses, departments, and divisions exceed their goals. TJ utilized that same focus on provoking individuals to change and transform their lives to be all that God has called them to be. She is a sought-out speaker who has done leadership trainings for several nonprofit and for-profit organizations, along with being a transformational speaker for personal growth and development. She has been featured in magazine articles and is a recurring guest on the Sly King Unleashed podcast. TJ has overcome great obstacles and is here to let people know that if God can take a little girl from the hood and allow her to gain experience managing teams in Fortune 500 companies and give her the courage to follow her dreams of being an entrepreneur, you can too. Good evening, TJ. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. I was almost about to ask who you reading about. That's great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to have you on this evening and ready to hear all that you have to share with the listeners.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and I'm excited to be here.
So let's jump right in. Can you share with the listeners about your leadership journey and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so I can remember my journey starting as a customer service representative. I was a representative in a call center, and I had been on the phones maybe about a year when I realized that this was not it for me. I didn't, when you're in a call center, you're on the phones, you're so confined, and I'm a person that likes to get up and move around and talk to people, but you're so confined. And so I recognized that there was more in me than just being the representative on the phones. So what I did was I started knocking the goals out of the park. And when I say that, I mean I exceeded everything that was expected of me. And because of that, my supervisors would put people beside me so that I could train them. And so then I got a love for training people. So I went from training and I left that company, and I got a job as a training manager. And that was the first time I was put over individuals. And so I did the training manager role, and that really started me on my role to leadership. I often use the story to people that are in the seats, and I tell them I started in the seats just like you, and now look at what I've been able to accomplish in my last role. I had over 250 people under me in two different states. I ended up being an operations manager over a division for a Fortune 500 company, and now I am my own entrepreneur. So it can start with the person that's sitting in the seat, and if you know that there's a leader inside of you, all you need to do is just find the right people to pull it out of you, and that's how I got to where I am right now, started from the seat.
Awesome. That's an awesome journey that you have went through so far, and been able to work for those large corporations to be able to advance your leadership journey. What strengths and experience do you feel are important to thrive as an entrepreneur? As we know, a little bit different than being in the corporate environment, less structure, and not a guaranteed paycheck. So what do you feel like has been the skills that have really helped you succeed in the entrepreneur space?
Well, one of the things that you have to do is very similar to what you have to do when you're in the corporate world. You have to be unstoppable, resilient, because there are times when even when you have a job, there are going to be times that you may apply for a position that you know that you're qualified for, but you don't get the job. So how do you handle that when you know that I'm qualified, but someone else got the job that I'm qualified for? So something inside of you says that it has to say to you that just because I got a no right now doesn't mean that it's no forever. And you most certainly have to have that type of mindset when you are an entrepreneur, because it is very comfortable to know that you're getting a check every 2 weeks. It's coming whether you do the job or not, right? You're getting a check every 2 weeks. But when you are an entrepreneur, you have to go out and hunt to eat, and you still have to be unstoppable. You have to know that whatever's inside of you that made you a great employee is going to be the same thing that makes you a great entrepreneur if entrepreneurship is for you. It is not for everybody, though. So if you know that it's in you, then the very first thing you have to do is just be unstoppable, be relentless, hone your craft, which is the very same thing you need to do even when you are an employee for someone else. You should always be learning and bettering yourself, developing yourself. So you have to do that. You have to be a risk taker. You can't live in the area of being comfortable. That's still the same thing if you work for someone else. If you are an employee and if you go to work every day and you only have the mindset of mediocrity, or I'm just good with being average, then you're going to stay where you are. So you have to take the mindset that I'm going to always evolve and get better, and that same mindset must go with you as an entrepreneur. The one thing I will really say is you have to be relentless, and you have to be unstoppable. You have to be able to have tough skin, to have people say no to you and you not fold.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you will hear a lot of no's in the space of entrepreneurship. So when you think about communication, that's a leadership area of focus. What has been very helpful for you in regards to talking with clients, in regards to even getting contracts? One of the things that usually comes up when people think about leadership skills and ways to improve personal development, communication is always an area that seems to pop up on surveys. So, what tips could you give to the listeners in regards to communication and its importance really in corporate or in the entrepreneurial space?
I think a lot of times, even as leaders in corporate, we think of communication as only being verbal, communication, that we don't value listening as much as we value talking. So as an entrepreneur and as a leader, you're going to have great listening skills, and people need to relate listening as a part of the communication skill set. Listening is just as important. And so I say that because if I am going after a client, I have to listen to what they need. I have to be able to meet and I have a value to whatever it is that they need. And so a lot of people may make the mistake of thinking, I have a great product, I have a great service, and everybody should want my service, right, because I'm just so great. The best thing for you to do is find the need that a person has and you meet that need. And you won't know that if you're not a great listener. You need to be able to listen well and then be able to articulate well how you meet that person's, how you meet the need of the company, or even if you're in corporate, how do you meet the need of why should this person promote you to the next level? What are you doing? And you need to be able to articulate that well. And so that's definitely a skill that, sometimes people, I tend to think, my friends would think otherwise. I kind of think that I'm an extroverted introvert. People don't think that I am because I'm always moving and shaking and talking. But if you ask me my preference, I would much rather be at home, being still. But I have the ability to talk to all different levels of people. So that's something that you need to practice and hone. You need to be able to talk to the person in the seat and the CEO of the company and be well versed in the information that you're bringing to them. And again, why should they hire you? What need are you fulfilling for them? So that is definitely one of the skills. And I do think that's one of the strengths that I've been able to grow upon and leverage, even in my career in corporate and now as an entrepreneur. Listening. Need to listen.
Yes, that is one of the things that I say. Listen more, talk less. If you listen. Absolutely.
Somebody said, there's a reason why we have two ears and one mouth. We don't think of it like we have two ears and one mouth, and sometimes we do need to be slow to speak and swift to hear. And as a leader, that takes practice, because most of the time as leaders, we're automatically on the stance of solving the problem, right? Somebody comes to you with the problem, you're listening to solve the problem. So you're probably not even really listening to what they're saying. You're already trying to formulate an answer. So that's a skill set that all leaders need to really, really get better with, and that's listening. And if you become a good listener, then that'll help you be a better entrepreneur.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So listeners, listen more, talk less, and if you listen, people will tell you everything that you need to know if you just listen, because people like to talk about themselves.
Yeah. And sometimes, you may be talking so much that you become Charlie Brown's teacher. You guys remember when Charlie Brown teachers used to talk and you heard wah, 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 wah. So we've all run across those people who talk a lot. And like, wah, 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 that's all I hear, because you're not talking what I don't know what you're talking about. And it's definitely not what I need to hear at the moment. So, yeah, let's be better listeners. I do a listening exercise when I do leadership trainings that communication is the topic. I do a listening exercise where I will start a statement at the front of the room and have the statement someone transfer the statement to the next person, and it goes back around till it comes back to me. And every single time, it's never what I said at the very beginning. Because by the time the story gets told to the next person and 5 more people down, it's going to always be not what the original story was. So it's a great exercise too, that we as leaders just need to be a better listener and know that just because something is brought to us, not necessarily what was really said.
Absolutely. You're very right on that.
Yeah.
TJ,
Listen.
can you share with the listener audience a little bit about your work at Everhart and Associates and how your organization work with other organizations in regards to change management and process improvement?
Okay, so there are two arms. There's a side for the smaller business owners. And when I say that, it's typically the business owners that may have one, employee, could be up to 5 maybe, and a smaller revenue stream. What I found with these individuals is that they are really, really good at their craft. They're really, really they're gifted in whatever the craft or the service is, but they don't have a business mindset. When I say that, I mean they want to grow in business. They want to take their shoe-shining business to the next level, but they don't know how because they've not had a corporate background maybe, or they may have gone to school maybe, may have a business background, but we know a lot of times with education is not just enough. You need to put education and skills along with the education. So what I found was a lot of small business owners just don't know the basic parts of how to grow and sustain a business. The facts are that most business owners will fold between 3 and 5 years. And it's not because the product may not be any good. It's just because the operational practices are not strong and solid. So with those individuals, what I do is first do an operational analysis of their business and let them know the things that I've identified that could cause their businesses to continue to grow or that could cause their businesses to fold. And for that, if you keep operating in this manner, you won't be able to sustain. For instance, a lot of small business owners don't have some of them don't even have operational budgets. They don't have expenses and revenues. They don't have trending. They don't know about forecasting. They don't know about SWOT analysis. They don't know those basic things that corporate America does. And I know these things because I did it at a higher level. So I take that and transcend those things to smaller business owners so that they can grow their business. The other side is the performance management and change management efforts for bigger clients, because all businesses, the only thing that's consistent in business is change. We're going to always be changing. If you don't change, you won't grow. So with the change management and the performance management side, I'm looking at where are your operational misses? Maybe you have a department that's not meeting operational goals, whatever those goals. It could be KPIs, it could be financial goals, whatever. But what are those things, those behaviors, the human behaviors that are affecting this, that's causing you not to meet those goals? So work with them to help them identify and then facilitate, because obviously there needs to be some change, right? We're not going in the right direction. We've got to change, whether it's leadership change, whether it's policy and procedure change, whether it's cultural change. Those are the things that I will work with bigger corporations and bigger clients to help them to move forward in their operational practices. That is absolutely one of my strengths. I worked in corporate America. I was known as a person that could take an underperforming team and make them high-performing. I was known as a person that could motivate people to exceed goals and love coming to work and enjoy working with me and things like that. So I take those very same practices that I did and teach them to corporate America, other clients, bigger clients.
Wow, you're absolutely right in regards to change management, in regards to change being common practice in business, especially today. It seems like the more things change, the more things stay the same, but things are constantly changing.
They have to, because, let's think about some companies who were late to change. I listen to several podcasts. That's another thing that I do as for my personal development, but I listen to podcasts, and one of my favorite podcasts is Business Wars. And Business Wars, it just talks about like Netflix and Blockbuster. So any of us remember Blockbuster? Yeah. Do we have a Blockbuster anymore? No. But Blockbuster was slow to change, and going from we can go into the store and get the videos, right? But then Netflix came, and Netflix said, "Hey, I'll mail you the videos," and Blockbuster started running behind Netflix to the point that now there's no longer a Blockbuster. So every company, you have to change. Technology changes all the time. Innovation changes all the time. And so innately as humans, though, we don't like change, right? We don't want change. We all know those employees that say, what they changing this for? It's been working. Why we doing that? Why we doing that? Why they said we got to start doing that? This was working fine since she came, And so, but innately, humanly, we don't like change. So my goal is to facilitate the change in a way that people understand that the change must occur. If we're not meeting operational goals, that's not an option, whether we need to change the direction. We must meet the goals. How do we do it, though? Can we do it in a way that's less painful for people? Yeah. Can we do small changes and maybe not those big changes at once? Yeah. So those are the things that I look at when we go. We have to change. How do we change? It's a better way. And that's what I like to do.
That's awesome. And that was a good example of the Blockbuster to Netflix. And when we think about it as leaders, especially now that we have a multi-generational workforce, some of the leadership strategies and practices that we might have had 5 years ago, 10 years ago, are not working with our employees of today. So it's important for leaders to be able to adjust and evolve, as you mentioned, having that mindset of evolving, especially as you have all generations working side by side today, which is unheard of and definitely uncommon. But if we as leaders continue to operate how we were, we will be a Blockbuster or Toys R Us.
Oh, yeah, I know, right? I mean, we could think of, we just heard that Sears used to be the leading store for appliances. Sears is going out by the droves now. So we have to sit back and say we can't stay the way we are. We have, things will forever be changing. It has to. I even think about MySpace. Where's MySpace now? Where's MySpace? And we can think of others that that may have been a little late with changing. And as leaders, here is something that I will definitely that leaders have to be change agents. They have to be. And the leader has to be the rah-rah, the pom-pom, the cheerleader of change, even when you don't like the change. I know that as a leader, I've had to, make decisions and not necessarily agree with the decisions that those above me have made. I may not have necessarily agreed with the decision, but I still had to be the champion of the change. I couldn't go out to my team and say, they suck, but hey, they said we have to do it this way. You know, the leader has to come back and say, this is the change. And most of the time, if you give the people the whys behind the change, I think that's where a lot of leaders fail. Sometimes they just come in and say things are changing. And, when you're dealing with adults, you just can't go in and tell adults, well, today your lunch today your lunch is an hour, tomorrow you're going 30 minutes, and just walk off. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be received well. A lot of times, if you give the people the whys behind the change, and although they may not like the change, but they may better understand why the change is necessary. And so that's definitely a component I would recommend for every leader. As much as you can give the whys as much as you can. Some things you just can't give everybody. But don't just go in and flipping the world upside down and then walk away. Then your environment, you've lost the morale of the people. So I hope that didn't take me off course of what we were talking about. But, yeah, that's a tidbit for sure.
Absolutely. Yes. When the environment is rapidly changing, people need to know why in order to get on board a lot faster. TJ, it's important for our next generation of leaders to not only hear about our successes, but to hear about some of our mistakes that we have had as we went on our journeys. Can you share with the listeners one of your biggest mistakes and a learning lesson that you gained from it?
Who makes mistakes? I am perfect. Sorry, you have the wrong person on the phone, ma'am, for that question. I've never made a mistake.
And that's what our young people think. They think successful people have not made any mistakes and everything. We're just perfect people.
I know. Perfect Patty on the phone. I'm perfect Patty. Yes, I have made several mistakes in the leadership journey. I think when I first became a manager and a leader first, I can say that I probably was really, really more task-oriented than people-oriented. And if you know anything about Myers-Briggs, I was a strong T, meaning that I was like, hey, you're going to get the job done and the end. I was so on them about getting the job done that I did not recognize that I was hurting the people, hurting them to get the job done. And when I say that, because you'll find that, or you're managing out of fear, or people are reacting out of fear, right? If I don't do this, I'm going to lose my job. And that's definitely not the best way to manage or lead people. And so I had to reassess myself, especially after, you know how you have those employee surveys and you keep getting the survey, your manager keeps telling you that you are hard, you are tough, your team thinks that you're tough. So that wasn't good because I was getting the job done, right? They were doing what I needed for them to do, but they were doing it out of fear. And so I had to go back and reassess that within myself and say, okay, I don't want them to do anything out of fear, because when you manage people out of fear, you'll get temporary results. You'll get the job done, right? But you haven't changed the behaviors that affected what they were doing. So I started asking my team members to just hold me accountable for some things. I still have an issue with my facial expressions. Sometimes my face may look a little different than what my head is saying. My face looks like, don't bother me. What you want? Why are you coming over here? Why are you in my office? What? That's my face looks like. My head is not saying that. So I learned to be receptive to feedback, be open to the feedback of those that were under me. And I did a complete 180. I recognized that the reason why I've been so successful in motivating people and changing teams' performance because my people are my greatest asset. And I learned how to pull on the strengths of my team members and just let them do the job, not micromanage them. But, that was definitely a lesson learned and something that I share a lot. Don't be so task-oriented. Now, anybody that's ever sat under me as a team member, they'll tell you, I don't play about getting the job done. We don't get the job done, right? That's not an option. But I can have a softer side to it. And so I learned the softer side of TJ to get the job done. Then people just love coming to work, love working under me. But that took some growing up as a leader. It took some growing up.
Yes, and that's the thing. When we're challenged to do more with less, you're right. It's easy to get into the task. We got to get this done. We got to meet this deadline. It's easy to get into that mode and not be about the people. And you're right. Sometimes as leaders, we are into the deadline, into the task, and we have gotten out of the people business, which is not as effective. We have to be about the people. If you're about the people, the task will come. So I think that's a lesson a lot of leaders learn on their journey.
When you focus on the people, when they know that you care about them, when they know that you are there in the game with them, I always put it as, as a team, and I'm the coach of the team. Meaning, even if you have watch football, I'm not a real big football fan, so I know a couple of positions on the football team. I just want to tell you that. I know that there's a coach. I know that there's a quarterback. There's some people running the field doing some stuff. And then I think he has a offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator. Okay, so I know a few positions. But what I also know is that the coach is no good by himself. As great as he is, he's not running the plays on the field, right? So the coach can't win the game by himself. Those on the field, though, they have to have direction, so they can't win the game by themselves. But when you put it all together, you can make a champion team. So I always look at it that way. Invest in your people, build them up in what they're good at, focus on their strengths and not their weaknesses, leverage their strengths. If everybody is good at something, now, let me go back, because some people it's just not a good fit. They're just not a good fit. They need to find something that's a better fit for them. But on your team, there are people that are great at certain things. I learned to leverage those people. Leverage the person that you recognize is the next leader on the team. And that helped me also because I could build them up to take my job. Because that's, that used to be my thing. Like, I want you to take my job. So take my job, I can move further. You can come and get my role. So who is the person on my team that I can build up, right, and give them some of my responsibilities because they want the next thing to do. They want to grow. And I learned to leverage the people on my team, build their strengths, and find out what they're really good. And then once you get the team on board, you're unstoppable. Then the team will come back and say, when is our deadline? What is it that we have to do? And then they'll rally themselves and say, hey, okay, we have to do this. Not me having to do it. We have to do it. And we used to get the job done. One of my managers used to say, he always knew in the fourth quarter, my team was going to come pull it. It didn't matter where we started. In the fourth quarter, we were going to take it over and win every time. But I just learned how to build a team mindset as the coach.
Absolutely, absolutely. What role has mentors played on the progression of your career, if any?
Oh, gosh, a lot. A lot. I am so thankful for the professional mentors that I have had. Oh, goodness. I have been able to sit under some awesome members of leadership that were able to correct me, give me feedback, build me up, inspire me, push me. Hey, TJ, you can handle this, you can do this, and when I would think that I can't, or this is too much, or are you tripping, and I've been able to really take a lot that I've learned from some of the great mentors that I had professionally and use those very same things to build up other people. So every leader must have a mentor. I know I remember Oprah once said that she had 5. So if Oprah has 5, good God, we probably need 25. But I so value and so thankful for the great mentors that I have had professionally and the ones that I have personally too. I couldn't do it by myself. Your mentor can see what you can't see. Your mentor will pull out of you what you didn't know what was in, that was in you. I don't know how anybody can do it without one. I certainly couldn't. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. That's important for people to know and hear about the importance of mentorship and about your mentor being honest with you and giving you feedback and being able to pull out those things that you may not see, those potential blind spots. Have you taken any risk or bold moves in your career based off of expertise that you might have received from one of your mentors?
Oh, yes. Working on a book. Oh, yeah. That's interesting. Speaking more about my life's journey, and that's been risky for me because it has a lot of pain that came along with it, but in the same time, me exposing myself and being transparent with myself has helped me to help others. But again, like I told you, I'm the extroverted introvert. So as much as I like to talk and as much as people see me, but if you really just dig deep down into me, I'm this clammed up shell. And, let me just be quiet and not really talk. People don't believe that. Everybody's listening is probably laughing like, yeah, right. But deep, they're like, I can see all of them rolling their eyes like, yeah, right. Is this TJ on the phone? But so yes, it's me. But yeah, so I'm in a risk taking move right now based on some mentoring. Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to hear more about that journey, especially as you prepare to get that documented in writing. I will hold tight to hear your story. I know it's an awesome one.
Yeah, TJ, praise God, I made it.
Amen. TJ, growth is intentional. What are some of the things that you do for your own personal and professional growth to keep your cup full? Because as we know, if we're not learning, we're not growing. Mm-hmm. So what do you do for your growth?
One, sit up under people who are ahead of me and They pour into me. Definitely read books. I listen to podcasts, business podcasts, probably all day long. I very rarely have the TV on. I'm always listening. I'm reading books on personal development. I just finished a book called Why Not Win by Larry Thornton, and it's the premise is that the game has been set. Why not win? No matter what the challenges are in life. So I'm always I'm going to workshops, conferences, all of the time. Learning my craft, I'm still even as an operations manager, I'm still, I'm not in corporate doing it, but I'm still in that mode, right, with my own business. So I'm always listening to operational practices, how to be better, tips and things like that. So I'm a person that's always reading, and I'm always listening to something related to business or personal development, always, all day long.
That's important to invest in ourselves, especially as we go throughout our careers, whether you're working in corporate America or in your own business. It's important to keep learning, keep growing, going to workshops, reading books, listening to podcasts, so that you can stay up to date with the information that's in your particular field. So that's great.
You know what? And I say this, that I don't, for people who are not where you want to be in life, if you aren't at whatever that goal is in life, whether it's a financial goal, let's just say, because I'm on a billionaire track, so I don't have the time to spend doing anything that's not, propelling me in that area. I really don't know how people get a chance to watch TV all day. And not that there's anything wrong with TV, but I'm saying, show after show after show after show of things that are not helping them to grow in life, in their spiritual life, in their finances, all those things. I just don't know how people have that time if they're not in the place where they really want to be. And I just know that I'm not. I have a big vision. God has given me a big vision. And so it takes all of my efforts to develop to get there, because the vision is so big. But I'm not the only one that he's given a big vision and a big dream to. So there's work to do, and we have to develop to get there. It's not going to just happen by happenstance. It won't. You got to put the work in. And so, it's YouTube. There's so much information out here, online courses, everything to make you better and to grow, because I'm on a mission. So,
Well, I'm trying to be with you and on that billionaire track.
Come on, let's go.
Listen.
Hey, I really feel like if, God has no respect of person. If he can do it for Oprah and all the other people, he can do it for me. He can do it for you. But we have to be intentional in going after those things. And there are so many people sitting on giftings and callings that they have. They have they have dreams, they have visions, they have talents, and they're just sitting on them. Because some of it is fear, and some of it is I don't know how to start. I don't know where to go, and that's when you need to reach out to someone to help you to go. There are people out there. You are here. There are people that are out there that will help someone birth that dream and that vision that's in them. But I say, even as a leader, I can't pull you. I won't drag you, and I can't want it more than you want it for yourself. So they have to want it, have that hunger in them, but there are plenty of people out here that can help us get to where we're going. So you can come on with me, Coach T, because we're going to the billionaire status.
Listen, I got my bags packed and ready to roll.
Fill you with the beat, girl. Fill you with the beat. Why not? Let's do it.
So as we go on our billionaire journey,
Yes.
As we go on that journey, we have to have tough skin because in this industry, and especially being entrepreneurs, you will hear some yeses, but you'll hear a lot of no's. So what kind of mindset have you had to have since you've been a full-time entrepreneur?
The very thing I said at first, I am unstoppable. I'm unstoppable. I know that God didn't put this in me for me to just fold in life. He didn't. I was with Oprah and Gail in January. I sat up on the Magic, and I was with them for 4 days. I sat up on the Magic Johnson in February. I saw Michelle Obama twice this year. And I know that God didn't just allow me to see them, just to see them, to check it off on a bucket list, right? It wasn't for me to just put a check by it. Okay, saw them, check, check, check. It was for me to see them and to see that if they can do it, I can do it too. So there's just something inside of me that just won't let me quit. I'm just not a quitter. My mother passed away. I was 20 years old when my mom died. So I've had to put myself through school, master's, been married, husband. I've been a motherless person since the age of 20. And I could have folded. I could have quit. I could have been totally different than what I am, but I'm not. And there's something inside of me that won't let me quit. So it's the same thing in business. Like, okay, so you're not interested. It's okay. Somebody will be, okay. And I won't say that I don't get discouraged. There are times where I have been discouraged, but I thank God for the friends and the people he placed in my life. My husband said, baby, it's all right. It's all good. We okay. We're good. When I have my friends that say, gosh, I'm struggling, and my friends may say, I got you. It's all good. You're good. And those are the things that keep me going. I think we were all, we're all human. So it is trying at times. And as a human, you can get discouraged. But I'm a person that walks by faith and not by sight. So if I'm walking by faith, it doesn't matter what it looks like. I win. So I just keep pressing. That is, it's my faith that keeps me going. I walk by faith and not by sight. And so this may be a no, but my yes is on the other side. I just have to keep going. But that's Absolutely. How my life has had to be. My life has had to be like that. So I think that's why it's easier for me to do it as an entrepreneur. My life has been, you cannot look at what you see and fold. It's either sink or swim, and I swim. That's it.
Oh, all right. And you're right. Go ahead, Miss TJ. I mean, you're right. Mindset really is, that's the key of everything. If your mindset isn't in a good place, whether you're in the entrepreneurial space, whether you're in corporate America, in your professional life or personal life, if your mindset isn't set to be unstoppable, isn't set to win, isn't set to evolve, then you're limited in that, and where you're going to go or what you're going to be. It all starts with you and what you think.
Yeah. Absolutely. Because even in corporate, do you know how many times you're going to apply for a job and not get it? And all the politics that may go along with corporate, and you're eligible for the job. But what do? You can sit there and cry all you want to, but it doesn't change the outcome. So it's, I say that in life, just think about your GPS system. If you're heading somewhere, but the road is closed, you don't just stop because the road is closed. You have to get to somewhere else, right? You go another way. And that road may be closed, but you don't just sit there. You go the other way. You redirect yourself. It's just a life of redirection. And that's not just as an entrepreneur, but that's just in life. We will always have obstacles, challenges. But what do? Do you fold? No, you redirect. And as an entrepreneur, we just so happen to have to do it way more than the person that's just going to work every day. But they have to do it too. All of us have to.
Absolutely. If you are in the corporate space and you're taking risks with your career and trying to move up the ladder, as they say, or even, making moves outside of your career, trying to reinvent yourself, you're going to hear those yeses, you're going to hear those nos.
Yeah. So, and you just have to say, okay, and I thank God for my spiritual life. I just stand on His word, and if that door is closed, there's another one that's open that nobody can close, and there's one that's closed that no one can open. So I just always say, God, where's my open door opportunity? Where am I supposed to be? Who am I sent for? Where am I supposed to go? And that's another thing. I don't, know how people do it without having a quiet time and a prayer life and just seeking God on what you're supposed to be doing, where are you supposed to be, how are you supposed to get there, and who are the people He's placed in your life to help you along the way. So that's it for me, girl. I mean, that's my everyday. God, where am I supposed to be? How do I get there? And then when a no comes, I don't take it too bad. Sometimes it hurts. It stings. But okay, God, let's do it. Let's make it do what it do.
Yeah,
I always
absolutely,
win.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, what's one leadership tidbit that you want to leave our listeners with that they could use in their personal and/or professional life?
Just one. On top of all of the other things that I've said. Be flexible and listen to the people. Especially if you are the leader, you have several people under you, and they are the people that's sitting in the seats. They really know what's going on, and you may not. Be open to the feedback of the people. There are going to be times where things have, the company is going in a direction and you have to follow that direction, but you can at least let the people know that you value what they say. You value them. Listen to the people that's on your team and be open to the feedback. If they tell you you mean and 5 of them tell you that, you probably are. As though you think you're the sweetest thing ever in the world. No, you're probably a little mean. Listen. And when people know that you value them, they'll do whatever it is you need for them to do. Because great leaders build even greater leaders.
Awesome. That is a great tidbit to leave the listeners with. So, TJ, how can our listeners stay connected with you and continue to follow you on your leadership journey?
Well, for all of you that are listening, if you are on LinkedIn, you can follow me or connect with me. I am Tijuana Everhart, so that's TIJUANA Everhart, EV as in Victor, ERHART. That's on LinkedIn. Everything else, I am TJ Everhart. You can go to my website at TJ Everhart, and remember that's HART.com. If you're looking on the home page, just scroll all the way down to the bottom. You'll see all of my social media buttons. They can follow me on those buttons. And then on Twitter, I'm TRJ Everhart. But everything else is TJ Everhart. Real easy. I would love for you guys to follow me. I do a Redesigning Your Life or Your Business Facebook Live every Tuesday night. And I'm always putting videos out, YouTube, things like that. So find me on TJ Everhart on all social media.
Awesome. So listeners, Make sure you connect with TJ on all her social media channels. Make sure you listen to her live stream and her YouTube videos. Make sure you go and check those out to get more information and hear more from Miss TJ. So thank you, TJ, so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to give me the opportunity to interview you. We could go on and on because you have such a vast array of information. It's definitely been very insightful. So it's an honor and a pleasure to have you as my guest, and many blessings and continued success to you on your journey.
Thank you so very much. I'm so glad that we connected. I look forward to you and I staying connected with each other and doing some great things. I wish you much success on your podcast and everything that you're doing, too. I speak nothing but blessings over your business. And hope we'll get to meet each other face-to-face soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I receive it. I receive it, my billionaire sister in the making.
Yes,
I receive it.
Sister with a name very similar to mine. Yes. Let's go out here and make it do what it do.
So thank you, listening audience, for tuning in to tonight's show with my special guest, TJ Everhart, where she shared with us, don't manage out of fear. You have to make sure that you are in the people business. You have to be unstoppable. Have an unstoppable mindset. Be resilient. Make sure you hone your craft and always keep learning, whether that's going to workshops or reading books, listening to podcasts. Make sure you are constantly growing. If you don't have a mentor, make sure that you get a mentor in really all aspects of your life, because they can share with you things that you may not see. They show you things that are in your blind spots. They help you take risk in your career. Also, make sure that you stay flexible. Make sure you listen to people and be open to the feedback. Remember, feedback is a gift. Have that mindset of evolving. And so, and make sure that you are listening to meet your client's needs or your employer's needs. So listen more and talk less. If you like what you heard and want to listen to previous shows, you can subscribe at www.podcast.coachtwilson.com. If you are thinking about starting your own podcast radio show, I would love to help you out. You can send me an email at dibroadcasting, so that's DIBROADCASTING, at Trendy Elite LLC, all one word, TRENDYELITELLC.com. Please tune in next week to hear from another amazing leader. Until then, have a good evening.
Thank you, friends, for tuning in to another episode of Leadership Tidbits with Coach T. Wilson, where Tywauna speaks with leaders who share nuggets of wisdom that you can use in your personal and professional life. Follow her on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Coach T. Wilson. Connect on LinkedIn or visit www.coachtwilson.com. And remember, in life, learn as much as you can, appreciate often, and lead fearlessly.